Back in the mid 70s, my friends and I, we were in high school, and we had a high school assignment, which was in our biology class. And I hate biology. It's anything that's squishy and icky and smelly and slimy. I don't want to have anything to do with. But anyway, we had to take it. So wait a minute. Maybe I didn't take it. Maybe it was just my friends who had to take it. That's what it was. I think I picked some other course. Anyway, all my friends took biology. So part of the requirement was that we had to go to the Saskatchewan River and take a test tube full of Saskatchewan River water and bring it back to the school and look at it under a microscope. Okay. You know, we just hated doing labs. Any assignment where we had to go somewhere and do something. It was so inconvenient because we had to ride a bus unless you knew somebody with a car. Well, Mike had a car, my friend Mike. So a bunch of us, we all had the same assignment, and we jumped into his car and we drove down from Londonderry to the Saskatchewan River underneath the high-level bridge and parked the car, and we got our test tubes and we're going down to the edge of the river. So this took 10 minutes, and we get our sample of river water, put the stopper in the test tube, and we're ready to take it back. So we're walking along the shore of the Saskatchewan River, and we're grossed out by knowing that there's raw sewage in the water. And the Rossdale power station was still operating at that time, and there was a outflow pipe. We don't know if this was sewage or cooling water from the power station. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of foam, this really ugly looking foam around the outflow pipe. And we're, getting grossed out at the ugly foam and all this. Well, what do we see in the river but this little tiny fuzzy head of a beaver? So we're watching this beaver, and it's getting closer and closer to the foam. And we get it in our bright heads that, hey, we should scare the beaver away from the foam so the beaver doesn't get poisoned by the foam. So we're looking around, and what can we use? We're thinking there's no sticks. There's just these big boulders. Well, Mike grabs a little rock the size of an egg, and he's going to throw it, and we say, yeah, that's a good idea. Mike will throw it, hit somewhere near the beaver, and the beaver will get scared off away from the foam, and we'll feel good that we saved the beaver's life because it didn't get to the poison foam. Mike launches this thing. Mike is an athletic guy. And it goes in this absolutely perfect parabolic curve, and it's getting closer to the beaver. And we all just shut up. We're watching this rock, and we're looking at the beaver. Now, the beaver is moving. This is a moving target. I have to emphasize this. The beaver was probably, it's hard to judge distance on a river because there's no point of reference. I'd have to say that just from the length of time that rock was in the air, that beaver was probably 100 yards away, maybe 100 meters. And Mike was athletic, like he played football and stuff, and he had a really good arm on him. We're watching this rock, and it's getting closer to the beaver, and the beaver's swimming along, and the beaver's getting closer to the rock. And the rock goes a little bit further down, the beaver goes a little bit further forward, and wouldn't you know it, this rock goes right above the beaver, and then we hear this crack, like a coconut being smashed by a baseball bat. That rock hit the beaver squarely on the top of the head, knocked it out, and it was tits up. The thing glug, glug, glugs under the water, kills the beaver. And we were all just stunned. We were ashamed that we were supposed to be good stewards of environment, and we all just started bursting out laughing at the horrific improbability that actually came true. Needless to say, we never threw rocks at animals after that. We all felt guilty. That was our adventure on that one Saturday morning or whatever it was when I was a high school student. Anyway, more to come.